Once again, those Haikyuu feels. Oh, damn, they always come at you like a tidal wave. Every freaking week, Haikyuu gives me those feels of either epicness, shit's going down, or sadness, one or the other. But this week, it was just epic shit and character development that just flowed all into my face, and I just love how this episode turned out. Suga, as a character for the course of this entire series of Haikyuu, he hasn't had much screen time. He's always been the weak setter. He's always been, in Kageyama's shadow since Kageyama's came around in Haikyuu. And it's really sad. It was a really depressing thing because this entire series, Suga was pretty much useless. He was. If you think about this, he was. But in this episode, it technically was used as redemption for Suga as a character to show you how strong he is and that he can utilize all the tools in his belt. For instance, something that Suga shows off is something that Kageyama fails at in this series. He fails at. Kageyama, as we know, can really throw crazy tosses at our main male character Hinata, but he cannot, utilize everybody else. He doesn't know how to use everybody else to their maximum, but Suga does. Suga and Kageyama have pretty much two different distinct playstyles. Like, Suga is the morale support. For instance, he makes everybody have higher morale, and then Kageyama, you see how he knows how to use his, decoy Hinata in this series. So the thing Suga has over Kageyama is he knows how to use every individual player. For instance, you clearly saw in this episode, he was using everybody to their maximum potential because he knows their personalities and he knows what you say at the giving moment to actually make them feel better when they either make a shot, they block a shot, so forth. And so it clearly shows in this episode that Suga has a lot of experience, a lot more experience than Kageyama as a character, and that's what makes him vastly different as a setter. Now, if Kageyama as a character was to develop to where he could actually utilize his entire utility, his entire team, to the maximum potential just like he does Hinata, oh my god, you got someone extremely powerful. Because, Suga shows, if you have, a connection with your team, and if you care for your team, and you know how to use them to be able to benefit the entire team, you can win. That's exactly what this episode showed, and if Kageyama can learn from Suga and actually be able to manage this, he can definitely become an even stronger setter than he already is. Vice versa for any setter. For instance, Suga, if he can learn how to use Hinata, it would be crazy insane. Now, the episode had a lot of feels between the two setters, Kageyama and Suga, because, you had two of them have conflicting thoughts about, for instance, one of them wants to stay on the court, one of them's outside the court, and they're like, I want to play right now, and you get to see both perspectives of the setters. For instance, Kageyama gets the perspective of Suga this episode, and Suga gets the perspective of Kageyama, and you gotta love the entire inner monologue thoughts of this episode, of how they think, and exactly how they feel in that given moment. It is really depressing and sad, because you have one that really wants to continue playing in the match, and when you have one that wants to get into the match to play, and you can't help but feel bad for both players, because, you want one to play on the court, you want one to not go off the court, so it's really sad seeing something like that happen. It's really sad to see how you have to choose one character to play on the court. Now, the big thing, though, with this episode I felt was really interesting and it really helped out the overall character development and the bonds between the two setters of our team was that you had Suga announce, I know for a fact you have my back now. For instance, if I mess up or fail or whatever, you have my back and you can, utilize my mistakes. For instance, he could do better than probably Suga could. And Suga could do the vice versa to Kageyama. And so I like that how they actually went more into that. Just because you're a benched player and you cannot, play at that given moment, you're the backup that has the backup that certain player. For instance, let's say Hinata. He's in a jam one day, later down the series. And they have someone on the bench that's, could take his spot, the number 10 spot. It would definitely hold Hinata's back where he doesn't have to worry as much. I could see something like this happening in the series quite often, actually, later on, once they get more players, because it'll definitely mix up the entire game, so it'll add different type of styles to the overall matches, and it will definitely change up the entire theme and feels of each individual episode. Personally, this was a very good episode of Haikyuu. I enjoyed it from start to finish because I love the feels and emotions with the setters this entire episode. Now, let's just hope our team can win this game. Let's hope they don't get crushed, because if they get crushed, all the third years will not be able to ever play in the Inter-High ever again, which will be very depressing. So let's hope they can beat Aoba. And tell me your thoughts about this episode of Haikyuu, everybody. Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? What was your favorite moments about it? And personally, do you feel like, Suga is a better setter than Kageyama? Let me know in the comments below. I mean, would you rather a setter like Suga that sticks to the fundamentals, but at the exact same time, he's really in-depth with his team, he cares about his team, or would you rather have Kageyama that can utilize one specific player, for instance like Hinata, and cause crazy quick shots? Which would you rather have as your setter? Who do you think is the best? Let me know in the comments below. I love all of you so much. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.